My name is Chris Allen and I'm the Sales Coordinator for Belt Conveyor Guarding and our sister division Reguarding Solutions. Our company has been helping to keep families coming home to each other for over 25 years. This guarding and safe workplace presentation will consist of 4 modules to take you through the process of learning to recognize machine guarding safety concerns and how to fix them. Please note that there may be some images that are of graphic nature. We can become complacent in the way things are because that's how it's always been, or it's fine, I'm the only one who uses it. The time a danger is recognized may be too late. All right, let's get educated. First of all, for those who are not familiar with the term fixed guarding, it refers to a guard that is a physical barrier between a worker and a danger zone. There are other types of guarding, but fixed guarding prevents any contact unless it is physically removed. A conveyor or rotating equipment will continue to move even after any emergency shutoff is activated, and someone could be pulled in. There may be one less seat at the dinner table from that point on. One thing we don't talk about is how quickly accidents happen. Time is a factor that is not taken into consideration. We're not always aware of how long things really take, or what can happen in that period of time. Speed is very hard to judge. I'm sure you've heard these before. It happened so fast. I didn't see it coming. Following proper guarding practices and following the proper guidelines takes the guesswork out of knowing if it's safe or not. Don't become complacent in what's around you. There may be other unseen hazards if a proper assessment has not been performed. It's possible that only certain hazards have been rectified, and this could give you a false sense of security. In the time it takes for you to react, an injury may have already occurred. You could already be a statistic. Let's not create statistics. Be aware and be safe. Consider the following. If a vehicle is traveling at 60 miles per hour, how far will it travel in 1 second? Let's calculate this. 60 miles per hour is 1 mile per minute, and there are 5,280 feet in a mile. Divide that by 60 seconds, and it travels at 88 feet per second. If an exhaust fan rotates at 1200 revolutions per minute, how many rotations will it complete in 1 second? Take the number of rotations and divide that by 60 seconds, and it rotates at 20 rotations per second. We must protect everyone from the pinch points. Pinch points sound very cute. Our doctors say it to us. This is going to pinch a little bit. Injury, dismemberment, and fatalities start with just a pinch. The in-running pinch point is the area where the belt and roller make contact on the in-feed side. In a new roller and belt, the danger may only be in the in-running pinch point, but as parts wear, there are other dangers that can be present because of the wear. The rollers and the rotating parts themselves may have sharp edges, holes, or other things that could catch or entangle a person or their clothing. The regulation states that you must be kept to a minimum of 36 inches from all rotating parts or pinch points. There is an acronym to help you remember what needs to be guarded. This is known as AUTO. When you are guarding equipment, you must not be able to reach the hazard around, under, through, or over. If you can, you need to guard it. Around, under, through, or over. Throughout Module 2, we will be looking at how to spot the problems that could be encountered. So first of all, let's look at the fastening systems. Bolts are commonly used as fastening systems, but they can rust and often need replacing. Wearing gloves can make it difficult to manipulate them, and they can be dropped and lost. A more user-friendly alternative is the wedge clamp. Throughout this presentation, you will hear reference to wedge clamps. They are bolted to the leg and never have to be removed, so your guard always has a spot to go back onto. The wedge slides out and the guarding slides off and on with ease. The wedge clamp stays in place. A tie wrap is to be placed through the center of the wedge to lock it into place and will require a tool, side cutters, to remove it, making it compliant to OSHA's regulation requiring a tool to remove. After replacing a guard, you must remember to replace the tie wrap to make it compliant. A locking wedge clamp is also available. It uses a set screw system and is designed for applications where using a cable tie is not desirable. It uses an Allen key to quickly lock or unlock the set screw. We will now take a look at some of the areas that you will find that need to be checked for guarding. As well, what creates a hazard and what is wrong with the guarding or if it's missing. Then, how to gauge the effectiveness of your current guarding. These areas mentioned will only serve as a broad example of items or areas that need to be guarded. Only with a proper assessment of your equipment will you be sure of what your safety needs are. These are some of the areas to take a look at. Each of them pose a different danger, as well as severity of the injury should contact with their surfaces or moving parts occur. Each should be considered as equally threatening and not be ignored just because you are complacent in your thinking. These guards are designed to prevent any contact with the pinch point between the pulley and the belt, the exposed pulley and the pulley face, along with the exposed shaft and bearing. And remember, a worn pulley is much different than a new one. Make sure the guards are designed so you can't reach around, under, through, or over. Here is an example of a pump that we provided a guard for. You can also add signage to the guard to indicate the danger within, as was done for this customer. This picture shows a V-belt drive with all rotating parts and pinch points exposed. A worker could easily be hurt working on or around this exposed piece of equipment. This one has danger written all over it. This one is a properly guarded V-belt drive. There are no exposed pinch points and all rotating parts are covered. This follows the AUTO acronym. No one is able to hurt themselves as long as they follow the lockout tagout procedures. You will even notice this customer requested that the guard be supplied with black mesh for increased visibility. Which situation looks safer to you? This shows a compliant coupling guard that was designed and manufactured by us. This one comes with an inspection door. Our coupling guards allow for easy access for inspection through the inspection door. If further work needs to be completed for maintenance, the top can be lifted off by cutting and removing the cable ties, opening the wedge clamps and removing the guard using the handles. That is, of course, providing you follow the proper lockout tagout procedures. Idler rollers need to be protected from contact or from potentially falling onto someone. The regulation states that a pinch point guard is required if a return idler is less than 7 feet away from walking or working surfaces. It will serve the purpose of catching the roller in case of failure, as well as protecting workers from contact with moving parts or pinch points. Idler baskets are required for any return rollers that are above 7 feet from the ground. Their primary duty is to catch the roller in case of failure and stop it from falling onto someone that may be walking below at the time. The photo on the left shows an unprotected flange bearing. Although this shaft may be rotating at a slow rate, if a worker were to get entangled, there's no stopping it. Why take the chance? Guard it right, save a life. The photo on the right shows a properly guarded flange bearing. It is designed in such a way as to allow the greasing of the bearing without removal. Here is the fitting with the guard around it. So, what creates a hazard? Does the design, material, or construction of the guard create a hazard? It has to be free of burrs, sharp edges, and pinch points. Sometimes the guarding that gets built to cover the dangers creates more of a danger or a different danger that wasn't there before. I'm sure we've all come across this type of hazard. Safety is not a trial and error project. It needs to be handled in a responsible way that makes sure all aspects in the protection of the worker are taken care of. You've already learned what to look for to see what's missing, so this should be easy. In the left picture, it's apparent to see that the return roller is not guarded. Great, let's get that taken care of. But wait, did you notice the mesh is damaged on the guarding below the roller? You can reach through that. How about the picture on the right? You have sharp edges on the mesh and the holes are too big in this mesh. A person could make contact. That's all easy fix. But did you happen to miss the huge area in the orange guarding that you can put your hand through and around? Here is a good example to show you areas that needs to be addressed. Someone can reach around the guard at the front corner, under the guard from the bottom, through the guard at the front because the mesh is too close to what is being guarded, and over the top, auto, around, under, through, and over. The conveyor bend causes pinch points at the return rollers. Remember, the guard is required to be at 36 inches either side of the pinch point, and these return rollers are close together. Therefore, in this example, the guarding is required along the complete conveyor. So what do you see as a guarding concern here? Exposed sprocket and chain, rotating parts, rollers on a track, and I'm sure you could find more if you were there. Hopefully after today, you should never have to witness this. What's missing? Well, let's see. Rotating equipment. How about a guard? How do you know if your current guarding is compliant? The ANSI B11 was developed to determine guard mounting distances based on the maximum opening sizes in the guarding. This standard ensures that any body part which can fit through the mesh won't be able to contact the rotating or moving component inside. The safety gauge was designed to resemble the human arm from the fingertips. The gauge measures the distance to the hazard relative to the mesh opening size. We've developed our safety gauge to be compact and easy to unfold. If you insert the tip through the mesh and if it contacts the rotating hazard, your guarding is not compliant. To make it compact and easy to unfold, we had to make it flat. So think of it as being round when you insert it, and orient the gauge with the short side of the mesh. This is a chart that gives you the idea of how it works. For example, if your hazard is 2.5 inches away from your guard, you will need a mesh size that is a maximum of 3/8 of an inch to be compliant. In Module 3, we'll look at some guarding examples that show you non-compliant guarding and how it should be guarded with compliant guarding. Here, the picture on the right is an unguarded tail pulley with many exposed dangers. I don't think I need to list them. They're quite evident even to the untrained eye, as long as you keep the AUTO acronym in mind. Constructing the barrier guard on the left not only solves all of the compliance issues, but it solves the maintenance headache as well. Proper guarding does not just protect the worker from hazards. It should be ergonomically designed to reduce common injuries and strains when lifting guards. Hand railings are fine for some applications, but only with a proper assessment by a trained person could you be sure. In this case, the picture on the left, a handrail would not work. You can easily reach in, contacting the hazard. A barrier guard with the proper mesh and the correct height would be acceptable. There may be special requirements that should be considered when designing the guard. For instance, for lubrication, grease lines can be extended through the guarding. Corrosive areas may require a stainless steel body or hardware. Remember, the guarding does not only serve to create a protective barrier, it is also needed to be made in such a way for ease of maintenance, ensuring that the guard is easily replaced in the proper manner. It also needs to be ergonomic for everyone who uses it. In the past, removing the guards could be cumbersome or needed done so often that they were sometimes not replaced because of the difficulty and time it took. The best place to start is talking to whomever is responsible for working with that piece of equipment or area. Once you've figured out their needs, the design process begins. We can incorporate almost any design aspect to make it easier for you while keeping it safe and compliant. In this case, we have removable front panels which can easily be removed. Hinged top and sides for easily maintaining while not having to find somewhere to place those guards when removed. And there are mounting legs to provide a solid, adjustable base. Inspection doors are necessary when you need to keep machinery running and still want to be able to inspect or access certain areas. The unique two-piece design allows for retrofitting existing compliant guarding or installing in new. It is easily installed by removing the section of guarding and bolting the two pieces together, sandwiching the mesh between. All of this is kept secure and safe using the wedge clamp. And don't forget, replacing the cable tie on the wedge clamp is the only way to ensure that you can't access the hazard without a tool to remove. In this first photo, you can see where someone's cut a hole into the compliant guarding to gain access, now making it non-compliant. This second photo shows you how adding the inspection door can make it compliant again, yet still allowing the access. This shows you the optional inspection door extensions, which are also available. They can be customized to suit your application. Whether you need occasional access using an access door, or you need continuous or frequent access through a port, you have many possibilities available to you. This is how the coupling guard is constructed, and shows the ease of how the modular design can be made easily disassembled for maintenance. Inspection doors add better access to maintain the coupling. Being sloped on the top takes up less space and means it's less likely that someone will step on it. Adjustable fill plates on the sides and the bottom slide to maximize the coverage of the coupling. And handles can be incorporated to make removing and replacing easier. You may have a need for increased access at times when you're properly locked out. Hinging certain areas of the guard will allow for easier access to the equipment for maintenance. For visual inspections, black mesh is preferred by many over yellow mesh, since it's easier to see through. For maximum visibility, Lexan doors or panels can be incorporated into the design. A well-designed guard should not weigh more than 50 pounds. It should not require more than one person to remove or install it. It's also a good idea to put weight labels on the heavier guards. It allows workers to know if lifting the guard is within their capability, ultimately reducing the possibility of injuries. Consider using these ergonomic accessories. Guarding can be easily removed using the rubber-coated handles. They are bolted onto the mesh and positioned to suit the application. They make the removing and replacing of the guard easier and ergonomic, especially if the guarding supplied is no more than 50 pounds. Guard seats are also available to make it easier to install and replace the guards, reducing the amount of wedge clamps and tie wraps required. Having guard hangers installed makes it easier to store the guards up and out of the way so they don't create a tripping hazard and they don't get damaged. Their unique design and rubber coating allows them to neatly hook over existing guarding or onto handrails without slipping. We've been through quite a few things in this presentation. Hopefully you can take something away with you from this, stopping industry from making more statistics. Let's take a look at this picture. It shows you examples of well-designed guarding. Would you like to point them out with me? Number 1. It has black mesh for increased visibility and monitoring. 2. There are custom cutouts around existing structures for simple installation. 3. Removable front panels for easy access. 4. Extra mesh on the side for additional ventilation. 5. Smaller mesh along the side to prevent access to the pinch point. 6. There is a speed sensor bracket integrated into the guard. 7. There are wedge clamps for easy guard removal and replacement. And 8. It is mounted to the grated floor for easy installation and removal. Is the guard recognizable as a guard? Paint your guards a color which will stand out from your equipment. Standardize a color, which means danger. Safety yellow is the most common color. Educate your workers. Do they recognize when equipment needs guarding? Do they know how to recognize what the pinch points and rotating hazards are in their workspace? They have to be aware of changes in the workspace. Is your old or existing equipment compliant to today's regulations? Do your workers know how and under what circumstances guards can be safely removed and when they must be replaced? And what are they to do if a guard is missing or damaged? Who should they notify? 1 second or less can change a life and the lives of many forever. There is only one winner when an accident happens. 1 second of the wrong decision. 1 second is all it takes. The person who gets hurt or killed is not the only one who is affected by an accident. A workplace injury can cause a ripple effect. Who or what do you think is affected? Family and friends take on extra responsibilities. Colleagues have increased workload. Witnesses may develop post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Did you know that many workers who sustain or witness both minor and major injuries within weeks or months can suffer from episodes of depression? Employers will need to deal with rehiring, retraining, costly fines, citations, and workers' compensation. And insurance premiums are likely to rise. Please don't hesitate to contact us if you would like further information, if you would like to receive our e-blasts, or if you have any questions. For additional information about safety guarding, please go to our website at www.reguarding.com or at www.conveyorguarding.com. You can also find our assessment and guarding videos there too, along with our previous Guard Smart e-blasts. Thank you for watching this presentation.